away to the top 6, United haven't won a single match under Ten Hag. And it just looks like it's always something. And why can't he get over the line? Is it the players? What is the issue? Why can't he get over the line in the harder games in the Premier League?
It was a very, very big weekend of football, especially in the Premier League. Of course, some big things happened in La Liga as well. Jude Bellingham is clutch. I saw a picture of Jude Bellingham, his face on like the gear, like the stick, the accelerator, brake, and then Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham always comes clutch.
Fair.
5 goals in 4 games for Jude Bellingham. But let's go over to the Premier League and start there because I feel like that's the biggest.
You know what you're here for,
right? Yeah. So let's start off with Arsenal and Manchester United. That was the biggest one, the biggest game we called over the weekend. The one we had the most expectations for, and it did serve up those expectations.
It did. Yep, as we said, the Nigeria derby, the biggest game, in every family there's you guys know, Manchester United Arsenal, this is the biggest fixture of this generation, and like you said, it lived up to expectations, just like it did the season before and the season before that. This game does not disappoint. We were close enough we called how many goals would be scored. We didn't share them out right enough. We thought it would be 2-2, but we knew they were going to be goals and they were goals. Yeah. But as a United fan, how do you feel?
As a United fan, it's just disappointment. Yeah, injuries came in, unfortunately, to affect the play. Martinez had to go off injured. I heard even Linderlolf had to go and take a dump. That was the funniest part. I heard he had to take a dump. He felt
shit United, literally.
Right? And so we ended up with a centre-back partnership of Maguire and Johnny Evans. You don't want to see that in a top side.
You don't see that in 2023. I don't know if you wanted to see that in 2016 either, to be honest.
It's just funny, but that's how it turned out. But yeah, for me, how I'm feeling really, it's just disappointment. Disappointment also in the officiating of the game, right? I feel like Manchester United were robbed for the offside and the penalty shout or the free kick shout before Arsenal scored. Where I feel like Johnny Evans was fouled leading up to that goal for Arsenal. But yeah, what do you make of the game?
So yeah, when I look at the game in itself, yeah, KG affair could have gone either way. Arsenal sat off United a bit more than I expected them to. I thought they would try and blow United away, but when it was 1-1 to that late, that was good to see. I think a key reason for that was Onana's ball playing. Arsenal couldn't really press him that much. They had to just leave him on the ball.
And
so
it's interesting because
that helped United defensively.
Resuming second half, Arteta tried to tweak things and make 2 players press Onana, but he was able to still beat that press.
So he had to. That's something Arsenal think about the whole game. So that's a point for Onana being a good signing and his impact he's had on the team already. But yeah, looking at the game, it could have gone either way towards the end. Arsenal just had a little bit more at the end and we're lucky with the goals. The offside decision, I think, when I saw it the first time, I thought it was offside. Then I looked at it again. When they drew the line, I realized, oh, this is actually very close. With the angle that I've seen from the match, it looks like he's just offside. It's one of those that are incredibly annoying. Human beings, like it's the finest of margins that we're discussing here. And if they come to that decision, you have to go by it. The free kick on Højlund, I feel Gabriel was excessively violent on that. And that could have been a free kick. It was a play to the man. His hand was, at this point, his hand was here holding Højlund. Højlund couldn't do anything again. That's not a footballing play. But I think when you look at the match, I think I want to look at the match more in a larger context of Manchester United because yes, this match didn't go their way, but it's a trend now. Away to the top 6, United haven't won a single match under Ten Hag. And it just looks like it's always something. And why can't he get over the line? Is it the players? What is the issue? Why can't he get over the line in the harder games in the Premier League? And is that sustainable?
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I still feel like Ten Hag will figure it out. This is his second season.
But do you think there's a reason for that? Why can't he win?
Like you said, it always is something, right? Something always just happens in these big games, especially away. And yesterday was no different. The injuries were unfair. Martial was absolutely nowhere to be found. And I think that was one positive, right? Seeing Højlund come into the game and play the way he did, there were some positives. He put a lot of pressure on Gabriel and Saliba, and that looked good.
Before we go, let's just touch on the Arsenal perspective. This was a massive result for Arsenal. Manchester United coming into town. They dropped points. City haven't dropped any points, and that's the title race. So this was a game that I felt if Arsenal didn't win this game, if Arteta's tweaking affected this game, then I would have thought, yeah, the title race is probably As in, I like to put my predictions nice and early, like say hot potato. I've said yeah, Arsenal might not be about it, but to show the guts in this performance, to have a player like Declan Rice that they spent 100 million on doing things like Jude Bellingham did, being clutch, young English midfielder, he has to get his flowers for that. Gabriel Jesus coming back into the fold. So Arsenal, they go into the international break feeling good. Only 2 points behind City, they can potentially run it back.
Yeah, and just to quickly wrap things up on Arsenal, I would say that they sort of, in certain quarters, were expected to blow Manchester United away. Considering how poorly Manchester United have looked over
they had to win the game to me.
They were expected sort of, to sort of blow them away, and they didn't really do that. So that might raise some question marks in their heads, but they got the win. It was a clear, convincing win, 3-1. Jesus scored his first goal against Manchester United ever since he's been playing in the Premier League. And yeah, that's big. That's big, right? But yeah, kudos to Arsenal.
A great goal. He sent that guy.
Good way to go into the international break. And yeah, before we go to the international break, because we do have a lot to talk about there, let's talk about other fixtures that sort of stood out for you. I feel like Liverpool, Aston Villa stood out for me a little because I did expect Aston Villa to play much better, right? We've been sort of raving about how Unai Emery has put that side together and how they started this season, but they did not come to the party. Of course, you might expect that if you're going to Anfield, but it was very, very poor showing from Aston Villa.
So yeah, this was one of the Liverpool games I've enjoyed the most in a very long time. So yeah, the Newcastle game was good. Which was the other one, we got the other red card. The Chelsea game was exciting, but this was the first time like it was Anfield against opposition, a decent team, but a team we should beat. We beat them 3-0, kept the clean sheet, and this was extra good to me because we did this without Van Dijk and Konate. It was also great, and I haven't come up this high yet of that Szoboszlai goal. A Liverpool number 8 banging it in from range. This is football heritage. Do you understand? This is what we grew up on. Tell them this is what we grew up on.
Yeah, most definitely solid stuff for Liverpool. But of course, it's still early. It's still early in the season, right? It's still early in the season, and we did have like a little bit of banter right before we started, and we've said, looking at it now, the top 4, what 4 teams do you think will make?
Looking at it now, the top 4 for me is Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool. I don't really know the order. Tottenham and Liverpool, those 3 will switch around.
Okay, definitely interesting stuff to look out for. But to just quickly wrap up this segment, like I said before, we went into the conversation proper. Jude Bellingham is clutch, and I remember calling this transfer at the start of when the conversations were going on about whether he was going to go to Real Madrid, and people thinking how would he fit in? There's Tchouameni, there's Camavinga. None of those boys have anything on Jude Bellingham.
It's about building the team around him, not where he fits with them.
He's
building
basically
the team around him.
Into that
he's
Zidane
the face
mold.
of La Liga. He's the face of Real Madrid.
He's fitting into that Zidane mold. He's playing that number. He's wearing that number 5 jersey, and
I don't even know if Zidane was scoring goals this often.
Like
this guy looks like he wants to
right?
score 25 goals in the league. Like Zidane wasn't scoring that many goals, and he's scoring clutch goals. Obviously, we know how clutch Zidane's goals. Zidane is like the clutchest player of all time.
Right?
So, but this is a 20-year-old kid. We don't even know how far Madrid are going to go in Champions League or what role he's going to play in that. They have problems in their attack. Their injuries. Rodrigo got injured as well. Vinicius got injured, so I think Rodrigo is around. Yeah. They didn't replace Benzema. He thinks Bellingham can be the replacement. We'll see how well that goes.
Okay, and now it's time for the international break. Loads of games coming up this week. Thursday, Friday in the Euros, Euro qualifiers, and the AFCON qualifiers as well happening at the same time. I think the biggest one is England. I think England, they released the squad.
And that squad is shocking. I think we should touch on some things about that squad really quickly. Harry Maguire is in that squad. Calvin Phillips is in that squad. James Ward-Prowse is not in that squad.
Southgate is on skates, man.
Raheem Sterling is not in that squad. I think Sterling is a player that, at this point in his career, should be in every single England squad. I think if Sterling misses 70% of the season and he's fit enough for the Euros, he should be on the plane to the Euros.
So too.
He's earned the stripes for England. Like, he's on the Harry Kane level where, he's on that level. And the thing is, look at what he does in tournaments. I've seen Raheem Sterling at a Euro scoring 3 goals. I've seen him at international tournaments look better than Harry Kane. Raheem Sterling is that caliber of player. He's one of the greatest English wingers of all time, period. When I talk, go back as far as you like. Raheem Sterling is 100 Premier League goals. How many titles? Why should he be rotating in and out of scores with Eze and who are all these other guys? Gerard Bowen and co. Raheem Sterling should be locked. I think it's incredibly disrespectful, and I wonder how he's going to take it.
And
or how Southgate has sold it to him to make him accept it.
Those are the things, and those are some of the issues that I have personally with Gareth Southgate.
He's a weird man.
Why exactly are you holding on to Harry Maguire? Why exactly are you holding on to Calvin Phillips?
They do not play football. Like, Harry Maguire does not play, and when he plays, he's a disaster. Calvin Phillips literally is a part-time footballer. He does not play football.
Well, those are some of the things that will probably come back to haunt him. But
I hope they do.
He's done well with the
That's what I hope they. I hope they come
still.
back to haunt him. But I feel like he's done well, and he should. This is low key. England kind of have a golden generation. Like when you actually think about the situation we're in right now, look at the two midfielders we just discussed. 200 million, 22 and 21-year-old midfielders in their play. Look at Harry Kane up top that just scored some amount of goals. As in they have Rich James, John Stones as winning Champions League, Trent Alexander. As in England in the next 5 years, like all this coming close,
they need to
get a winner in the door, someone that will get them over the line.
Yeah, they need to have done something. Moving on from England, which is our second, what's it called? The other team that we shall like.
We pay attention to them. We support their league. We can.
So yeah, let's leave England now and come back to Africa. The AFCON qualifiers are currently, the international break, of course. There's also the AFCON qualifiers to look forward to. And with Nigeria, the Super Eagles, as it's not news anymore, Jose Poseiro's contract has been extended. I'm not exactly convinced by the guy, but he's qualified for the AFCON.
I don't think anybody can be convinced by what he's done so far. I guess he hasn't been completely terrible, but also hasn't been there's not that much to fill with optimism. I feel like this is definitely the best man to continue at this role.
Yeah, so Nigeria, the Super Eagles have a dead rubber game against South America Principe. They already have like 12 points qualified, played 5, won 4, lost just 1. So yeah, you'd expect them to win.
Yeah, expect them to win. Expect them to maybe rotate the squad a little bit, get a better look at some people he hasn't seen that well. Maybe we'll see Taiwan play a bigger part in this game instead of Osimhen. That could be good to see.
That's definitely going to be good to see. Taiwan currently bossing up the Premier League, 4 goals in 4.
And then he got an assist in this last game.
Okay, yeah, so his 3 goals in 4 and 1 assist. Yeah.
And this dates back into last season as well. Okay, remember, we've been talking about his streak of scoring in Europe. He could have broken the record for an African player, but instead of it, he got an assist. It's still definitely big stuff. And of course, there's one home-based goalkeeper that Olorunleke Ojo, I think his name is, that Poseiro has called. Not sure he's going to start, but this is the kind of game where you'd want to start him because it's a dead rubber rather than Uzoho. But yeah. That is our roundup of the international break. We're really not too... The international break coming this early in the season is just incredibly annoying. Well, yeah, it is what it is.
We're not too psyched about it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, football just started.
We're not psyched about it. Okay, that's an episode.
We can't let them escape. We just talked about Taiwan Woni, and we must say who that assist was against.
Right.
Taiwan Woni played in Anthony Elanga against you-know-who. Our third team in the house, they're always here making noise, them, Mr. Bianco. Chelsea dropping all 3 points at home to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, that was
They need to hijack some goals and some performances and some wins. What's going on at Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea.
It's not Pochettino was that guy, but this is unacceptable.
Chelsea are down bad. But I still do tip them to
do what?
To figure it out. I mean,
to what extent?
Europa League.
And to be honest, that's a massive improvement for Chelsea coming from 13. So we can end the episode there.
Yeah, that's an episode. We'll catch you guys in the next one. It will be international break when we come back. There'll be games to talk about. There's games on Thursday. There's also a couple of games on Friday.
Your players stay fit on the international break.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Trent's got injured just before. Hopefully he's a light one. He won't play for England and he's back by then.
And that's definitely a good place to put a pin on it. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. See you.